Hey, welcome back to another bonus episode of Cubicle to CEO, the podcast where we ask top entrepreneurs the business questions you can't Google. I'm your host, Ellen Yin, and today I will be answering the question, how much did Instagram pay me as a creator in 2022 with 29,000 followers? Now, this is a trend that I've actually seen across YouTube mostly, and I love seeing other creators share exactly how much different platforms are paying them. I think anything that adds to the conversation around paid transparency is so crucial. So I wanted to participate in that. I already obviously offer my quarterly income reports to you on the podcast every 90 days, sharing exactly how much our business makes, spends, and profits every 90 days. But this was something interesting that I haven't done before. I've never shared exactly what a specific platform makes, and especially how that relates to the creator funds that are available on different social platforms such as Instagram. And since most of my community hangs out on Instagram, I thought this would be a fun episode that you guys would find insightful. So, without further ado, here is how much Instagram paid me in 2022 for my personal account. So, at Miss Ellen Yin, this is the account that I'm talking about. Cubicle to CEO is also monetized, but I'm not including any of those numbers today in this report because that account actually got monetized like 6+ months after my personal account did. And so, since I don't have a full year of data on Cubicle to CEO's account yet, I thought I would just focus on my personal Miss Ellen Yin account. So, for a little bit of context, I first became monetized as an Instagram account in fall of 2021. Now, unlike YouTube, there's no specific requirements around how you reach monetization status or how you get invited to the Reels bonus program. So, to be honest, I really don't have a lot of insight around how that happens. I just know that one day I opened my Instagram app and I received a Reels bonus offer from Instagram offering to pay me a certain amount of money if I reached X number of views in a 30-day window. So when I started, I think my first offer, the maximum earning potential I had was $600, if I remember correctly, in a 30-day window. Nowadays, my typical offer is a maximum of $1,200 if I reach 11 million views in 30 days. Now, if you ask creators on Instagram what their Reels bonus payouts are, I know the number varies widely. It is so unique person to person, which is why I wanted to contribute my data to this conversation because there's not a whole lot of information out there. So I feel like the more we all talk about this, the more we all win. So if you're someone who wants to contribute to this conversation, if you also are earning money from Reels bonuses and you would like to help me crowdsource some more information to share to our community, feel free to DM me on Instagram at Miss Ellen Yin and share with me what your typical Reels bonus offer is, and I will add that to a whole anonymous spreadsheet. So your specific answer will not be attached to your name. I'm the only one who's going to see your answer tied to you. And I'll share it out on stories or out on a compiled reel because I think this is really interesting data that we could all benefit from. So if you care to share, send over your information to me on Instagram. But like I said, my typical offer is $1,200 in a 30-day window if I reach 11 million views. Now, I can tell you I have never reached the maximum potential earnings in a 30-day window. And to be quite honest, I don't have any plans to unless a few of my videos happen to magically go viral, which has also never happened to me. Then maybe that is possible, but it's not the strategy that I'm approaching this with. And I'll explain that in a little bit more depth in just a moment after I actually share with you the numbers. So what I thought would be easiest to do is to share with you screenshots of my 11 most recent Reels Play earnings. So these are actual screenshots from right within my own Instagram app. The reason there are 11 and not 12, because I know some of you watching this might be like, wait a second, Ellen, aren't there 12 months in a year? You would be correct. Yes, there are. But the way that Instagram offers their 30-day window, it doesn't always align directly with the start of a calendar month. So you can tell and you'll see if you're watching this on YouTube that a lot of my 30-day windows happen to fall within the middle of a month and they go through the middle of the next month. So it's not always exactly with the start or end of a regular calendar month. And then I don't always immediately accept the next 30-day window right after one ends. And so there are little gaps of days or sometimes even weeks in between these different bonus windows. So that's why when I looked back at any of my possible windows that fell within the calendar year of 2022, I ended up with 11 screenshots. So here they are. We're just going to go right in order and run through them. So that first window covered the dates between December 10th and January 9th, and I earned $45.36 with a total of 3 reels posted. From February 2nd to March 4th, I made $103.85, and I posted 9 reels. From March 5th through April 4th, I made a total of $103.94, and I posted 10 reels. From April 4th to May 4th, I made $111.36 and I posted 25 reels. From May 4th to June 3rd, I made $101.33 and I posted 8 reels. From June 3rd to July 4th, I made $77.47 and I posted 5 reels. From July 12th through August 12th, I made $109.07 and I posted 32 reels. This was my highest content output month, by the way. Then from August 16th through September 16th, I earned $104.25 from Reels Play and I posted 24 reels. Then from September 16th through October 17th, I made $38.21 with a total of 3 reels. And then for our last 2 screenshots, from October 17th through November 17th, I made $101.54 with a total of 21 reels posted. And finally, from November 22nd to December 23rd, 2022, I made a whopping total of $10.51 and I posted twice in that month. So, as you can see, did not end the year strong with a lot of content posting, which makes complete sense because I took half of that month off for a holiday hiatus. Now, when you tally all of these up, the total is somewhere above $900, but the actual tax form that I got from Meta, which is the parent company that owns Instagram for the 2022 calendar year, was for $927. So that is what actually deposited in my account. And the reason I make that distinction is because even if I earn X amount of dollars in a certain Reels window, the payout doesn't always coincide exactly with that. So the deposits can kind of be lumped together from multiple months in one lump payment in your bank account. I don't know exactly the workings around that, but I just know my total earned from 2022, according to their official records, is $927 in terms of what was deposited in my account. This, as you can tell, is not all too exciting, right? It's in fact probably a little underwhelming, especially when you look at the grand scheme of what we made as a business in 2022. So, as a business, we made $554,000 last year. 920 some dollars is less than 1% of our total revenue. In fact, if I did the math correctly, it's not even 0.5%. It may not even be 1/4% of what we made in the business last year. So, as you can see, it has almost no effect on our total revenue in the business. And this is actually on purpose. So, I really believe and advocate for not basing your business model on creator funds or platform specific ad revenue that you do not control the rates for, that you do not get to decide the CPMs for. CPMs standing for cost per mil, which essentially is how much money a platform will pay you for based on 1,000 views. So with platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, when you monetize through these platforms, whether you're monetizing through their creator funds, as is the case with Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, or whether it's through ad revenue, like on YouTube with Google AdSense, either way, you ultimately don't get to choose what you're charging for those views, right? The platforms essentially assign you a number and you just have to take it. They just tell you, hey, Like, we're going to pay you this amount of money if you get this amount of views. And there's really no negotiating in that conversation. And you kind of just have to accept it as a creator. So, the way that I like to think about the revenue earned from these types of opportunities, like creator funds and platform specific ad revenue that you don't control the rates for, is to think of them like the cherry on top, right? It's not going to be what you base your actual business model around. It's not the ice cream sundae. That's the biggest takeaway I want you guys to have from this episode. And just to prove this point further of how we approach creator funds, understanding this about our business, right? So with Instagram specifically, the way that their Reels bonus work is that your earliest plays will get more money than your later plays. So, what this means is when you are earning your first $100 in a given month, your earliest plays, like a couple thousand views, can sometimes get you to that $100 mark. For example, if we go back and look at the window from May 4th to June 3rd, right? I posted a total of 8 reels in that 30-day window, and those 8 reels generated 30,000 bonus plays. It's not crazy numbers, right? 33,000 divided by 8, that's a couple thousand views per reel. Pretty realistic, pretty reasonable, especially based on the size of my account. And so just those 8 reels made $101. Now contrast that with the window from July 12th through August 12th of that same year. That 30-day window, I posted 32 reels, which generated almost 111,000 views. So keep in mind, 32 reels compared to 8 reels. That's 4 times as many reels. So I quadrupled my content output that month. And 111,000 views versus 33,000 views, right? So I also more than tripled my total views for that 30-day window as well. But get this, the difference in revenue generated between those two windows is only $8, you guys. That first window, I made $101. And the second window, where I did like 4 times as much work, I made $109. That's an $8 difference. Definitely not worth it, right? We can all agree. So that's why these days, when I get a Reels bonus offer, I just do the bare minimum to get to that $100 mark, because everything beyond that $100 mark, instead of trying to garner a couple thousand views to get to $100, you're now having to shoot for hundreds of thousands of views or even millions of views to move the needle much further beyond 100, as you can clearly tell based on the example that I just shared. So these days, like I said, I really don't overly think about the Reels bonus payouts. It's really, truly just that cherry on top for me. And I don't base my content strategy around it. It's just a nice to have. I'll add it to any Reels I happen to post, but I'm not living and dying by the algorithm. I'm not on the Instagram content hamster wheel trying to churn out as much content as possible to earn from these creator funds, because I know that's not where the revenue lives in my business. And I think if you become eligible for these creator funds, or if you're already actively part of these creator funds, I really challenge you to do the same and really think about, what is my actual content strategy and how is that leading to actual dollars in my business? And you have to get really clear on that to make sure that you're not burning out trying to chase after these, these offers of creator payouts that may not actually make sense for you and your business, when your energy and time could be better divested elsewhere. So that's, again, another key lesson from all of this. So all this to say, when we're looking at our own content strategy, the podcast that you're listening to right now, this is our top of funnel content, right? This is the sun around which all of our other content channels revolve around. So we focus on creating consistent content for you twice a week here on this podcast. And then from this content, we base our Instagram strategy, we base our newsletter content, we base all of our other social channels and the content that we create for those social channels around repurposing the content that we have created for you here on this podcast. So this show informs the rest of our strategy, and our focus is on creating the best quality podcast and newsletter for you. And then everything else kind of falls in its place around amplifying what we are putting out on those two main channels. So I hope that kind of helps you think about your own content strategy. And I hope that this video or this podcast, if you're listening to this, was enlightening for you, insightful for you, maybe, especially if you haven't participated in a creator fund before on a social app. So, like I said at the beginning, the numbers that I shared here today are just based on the Reels bonus payouts. This has nothing to do with how much revenue Instagram drove as a marketing channel for selling our own offers last year. So, Instagram primarily does serve as a traffic generator to sell our own offers, right? But in this episode, we were just focusing on as a content platform, how much were we able to monetize from it? If you enjoyed this episode and you want to see me do this again next year, or if you want me to even bring Cubicle to CEO into the fold next year, because by then we will have 12 months of data on that account as well, I'm happy to do a compare and contrast between my personal account and Cubicle to CEO. Both accounts are growing every single month, so it'll be interesting to look back next year and see how our payouts or even our bonus offers may have changed over, the next 12 months as our accounts continue to grow collectively. Thank you so much, as always, for listening in. If you enjoyed this episode, please text it to a friend, share it to your stories, and tag us at Miss Ellen Yin and at Cubicle to CEO if you learned something new, or if you want to support our mission to continue to drive financial transparency forward. Thanks so much. I'll catch you in the next episode.